Hi everyone, it's Amanda. I thought I would just come online to wish you a happy Christmas, and I'm recording this on the 24th of December 2018, so it's Christmas Eve, and got a few things to do today obviously, but I wanted to thank you all for all of your love and all of your support through 2018. It's meant the world to me. There have been times over the last year where I very much questioned whether I wanted to carry on doing this, faced with the amount of criticism that this job entails that you get when you're public and online. And I really want to thank you from the bottom of my heart to those of you that pulled me through that, and you'll probably pull me through it again. I always say that to do this job you have to be sensitive, and sensitivity is a double-edged sword. So I appreciate you, and I love you all. So I also wanted to come online today to not just wish you a happy Christmas, but to acknowledge that Christmas is a difficult time for many people, and I think sometimes it's good to hold a space for that. So I'd like this to be a space where people can share and be there for each other. And it's been a very challenging year for most of us, and I was thinking that through today, chatting over with a friend earlier at the difficulties that we faced, but we're all still here and we're all still standing, and we go into 2019 with our sleeves rolled up, ready to fight another day, with the understanding that even though this year has been difficult, personally and collectively, that an awful lot of darkness has come up in the collective to be healed. Archangel Metatron, who is the main guide that I have, is an energy that doesn't muck about, tends to bring things up to the surface to be looked at and to be cleared, but doesn't then just let them loiter on the surface, sort of going even more toxic and mouldy. The Metatron energy, which is the energy that is helping the ascension of the planet at this time. There are many other beings, of course, but one of the roles that Metatron has is to be sort of in charge of this ascension process, which is why we have to be patient sometimes with that we wish to be exposed to the light. It all happens in divine timing. Metatron has an understanding of what we as a consciousness are ready to look at, hear, see at any one time. Otherwise, you go into overwhelm as a world, which doesn't help anybody, certainly doesn't raise the consciousness. But yes, so Metatron has brought a lot up this year to be looked at personally and collectively. But he has got this energy of speed and haste. So if there are still things that are present in your life that you've been struggling with, shadow, fear, really ask this Christmas that the light that absolutely is here, that wants to come in to illuminate, that can really just dispel the last pieces of shadow with regard to whatever you're facing. So that's one thing I wanted to say. The other thing is that I feel much of the pressure that we put ourselves under with regard to the Christmas time period is linked into perfectionism. And it's really important to try to recognize that within ourselves, that nothing has to be perfect, nothing ever is perfect. And equally, when you look at other people's lives and other people's family situations, and you look at social media in particular, and you look at all those happy family shots that will probably be put up tomorrow, that you recognise that underneath that lies many multiple stories that you cannot see. And truly, we never know what is going on in anybody else's life, yet we judge our own lives by those other people's lives, thinking that they somehow are living a better life, a happier life, a richer life in some way. That's got nothing to do with money. Although, of course, you need money or a certain level of money to be comfortable. The blight of homelessness in all of our societies is a real stain on humanity right now. And to have nothing and to be sleeping on the streets and to not be safe is something that is going to have to be looked at from the collective going forward. So sending prayers and love out to anybody in that situation. And it's just a stain. It's a stain on humanity. The basic needs should be met by now in a world that is actually abundant. So thinking of those in need, but also, yes, not trying to compare ourselves to other situations, other families. I was thinking about my own family, and, you know, we've lost John's mum, so she's not around the table this Christmas. And that's going to resonate with many of you. There is always an empty space around the Christmas table for those that we have loved who are no longer here. And as you get older, that list starts to grow a little bit longer, and it becomes very poignant, very poignant. I was thinking myself with regard to Christmases past, particularly when maybe I was a child or when my children were smaller, because they're growing up now, they're in their teens, and the magic of, you know, young children and Christmas, and myself as a young child remembering that, the wonder of it all. But it is just so important that whatever age we are, we try to give ourselves the gift of at least opening the door to the opportunity and the prospect for wonder to come back into our life. And so often we close the door on that, because again, it's not as it was. It's not as it was in a scenario that we're looking through, sometimes with rose-coloured spectacles anyway. And also just seeing the faults, the gaps, the people that are no longer there, or the things that are missing, be they emotional things that are missing with regard to relationships maybe that aren't perfect. Christmas time throws a big spotlight onto that, and you are able to see the real holes and the gaps, maybe in terms of your emotional needs that are not being met. Physically, you see gaps. Materially, you see gaps. Those that struggle for money, what they're not able to provide for their children, but yet also then seeing around you much excess. So there's a real topsy-turvy energy at Christmas time, and it's about just trying to find, again, the balance and the perspective. Perspective seems to be a very important word this Christmas time. To come from it with the right perspective. I was just responding to a friend who's a bit in need this Christmas, and I was trying to articulate what I'm really expanding on now in this video, which is about perspective. And from my perspective, I'll just give an example because it's a good way just to illustrate what I'm trying to say. I'm sure we're going to have a happy Christmas, but around our table we've got at least one person missing this year. My mum is unwell, and I hope she's going to be with us for Christmas Day in terms of her presence. I don't mean she's about to die, I just mean she's unwell. She's at the doctor's today. One of my daughters is unwell, and there are various other things going on. And I thought it is all about perspective though, because at the end of the day, the child that's unwell, if you look on that as the opposite way is to think how amazing is it that we still have in this country free healthcare. We live in a world where there are medicines, both holistic and conventional, that can treat things. And she's only got like a cold, it's nothing major, but it can spoil, the day. So it's like being grateful for the potions and lotions that are out there, and the medical care that's there if it was anything more serious. That's the same for my mum as well. Also just being very grateful that she's still here, and as I say, could be another empty space around the table, but that's not the case. It's all about how you view situations, but the most important thing is to let go of that picture perfect postcard of how it's supposed to be. You really need to do that. We all need to be doing that. The other thing I think that's very important around Christmas time is to allow laughter and humour in, and the vibration of joy, which is about, really, the Christ energy is about joy. And it was funny today. I knew I wanted to make a little video just to come online and say hello to you all, particularly those people that I know maybe aren't busy at Christmas or who haven't got anybody. I wanted to be there for you. It's really why I'm making this video, just coming on and having a chat. But I knew I was going to just link into the Christ energy, and I put this top on, and I'm wearing these earrings. Can you see these earrings? They're a little bit glitzy. They're diamante, and they're not ruby, they're just red and diamante, but they're a bit glitzy. They're a bit of bling. And straight away I subconsciously thought, oh, they're not very appropriate if I'm going to do a video linking into the Christ energy. And I thought, what on earth am I going on about? At the end of the day, having a bit of glitz and sparkle, you probably can't even see it on the camera, but why is that incompatible with the Christ energy? Why do I feel the need that I have to sit here and be very sober, very sober and solemn? That isn't what the Christ energy is about. The Christ energy is about joy. And what gives us joy? Many things gives us joy. Today, just putting on this nice red top, putting on a bit of glitzy jewellery, putting on my makeup. I always love putting on my makeup. It brought me joy. So it's this whole thing about what brings you joy. Look at these beautiful flowers that just arrived, literally 2 minutes before I was going to make this video. They're from my dad, and I think I've shown you flowers from my dad before because he seems to have very good taste. He has got very good taste. But I'll just tip up the container a little bit, hopefully without pouring water all over the desk, just so you can see how gorgeous they are. Look at that. So in my last video to you, I was talking about roses, wasn't I, linking into Mother Mary. And here we go, I've just been gifted these beautiful red roses. But aren't they beautiful? I mean, don't they just lift your heart? They lift my heart, and yeah, so I wanted to share my roses with you, my Christmas flowers that have just come in perfect timing today. Back to this thing though about humour and laughter and how important it is to laugh. Yesterday we were just watching, in the evening, just flicking channels, had Netflix on, and were looking for a film to watch, and we ended up watching Johnny English. I don't know if you know the film. It's got Rowan Atkinson in it, and Rowan Atkinson is just one of these funny guys. And I said to John, one of the reasons I think he's so funny is that he's able to just completely, he has no inhibitions at all. He's just able to completely step into the character that he plays with no inhibitions. And if you don't know who Rowan Atkinson is, of course he's the guy who brought us Mr. Bean. But anyway, Johnny English is this silly film really, where he plays an English spy. It's like a spoof of James Bond. Very daft. But there were a couple of moments in the film where there were a few jokes that came up, where it was almost one of those things where I thought, in fact I said to John, I said, oh, do you know, in a few years this is probably going to be politically incorrect to laugh at that, because it was actually a joke. I can't remember the context of the joke, but it was linked into the French basically, and I love the French, and I'm sure Rowan Atkinson loves the French. It was just one moment where this character was making fun a little bit of the French accent, I suppose, but it was done in a very humorous, light-hearted way. But my instant reaction was, oh, yes, okay, politically, you know, that wouldn't be allowed in a few years' time. And I thought, how sad is that? Because it's not about laughing at the French or any other nationality. It's about the fact that we need to be able to laugh at ourselves. It's really important to be able to laugh at ourselves. I think I'm quite good at being able to laugh at myself. I hope I am. There are times, I'm sure, where I've probably failed, but most of the time I'm pretty good at laughing at myself. But I think as a world, we're sort of losing that ability to be able to do that. And I think it's very important. So this stranglehold of political correctness and what we are not supposed to do or say or laugh at, I think has a part to play actually in just sort of the dampening down of mood. So I loved that film. I'm going to watch a few more Christmas films as well over the period. So I've got one pack of cards sitting here. I'm not going to do a reading as such today, but I thought I'd just pull a couple of cards from Cheryl Richardson's deck, and they're just called Grace cards. I've used these before over the years, and they really are just about a quality. They usually talk about one quality, and I thought Christmas Eve, let's have a look at the qualities that the angels are bringing up for us to look at or just receive this Christmas time, because they've all got pictures of angels on this card. So the deck, as I say, it's by a lady called Cheryl Richardson, who apparently is the New York Times best-selling author of Take Time for Your Life. I've never heard of the book, but anyway, she's apparently got quite a large following, and these cards are very lovely. So let's pull one of Cheryl's cards. Close my eyes so I can't see. So pray. I'm going to have 3. Pray. Gratitude. And self. Pray. It's important to pray. Not in terms of having to get down on your knees necessarily, miserable sinner, and pray. You know I'm not into that whole energy. But prayer, meditation is a form of prayer, of course, is about communion. It's about connection with a higher power, your higher self, your guides, the angels. And over this next few days, you're asked to pray, meditate, take time to just be able to communicate with that higher power. And of course, over Christmas time, we are linking into the energy of Christ. On the back of the card, it says, I am open and receptive to the power of grace in my life now. I ask to be shown clear examples of how this energy is operating in my life. So I don't really need to add to that. I am open and receptive to the power of grace in my life now. I ask to be shown clear examples of how this energy is operating in my life. So allowing in the energy of grace, allowing it to move in through you, and being open to the miracles that then gives. I quite like the fact that the next 2 cards came out stuck together. The card of gratitude and the card of self. I actually feel as though this is a message which is asking us to be grateful for our own bodies, grateful for our own life, but particularly grateful for our physical vessel, our body. So much of the spiritual community's time seems to be often spent in trying to get away from the body. But it's so important that the body is respected as the vessel in which our soul and our spirit resides. And I also am picking up a message here that it's linked into being grateful for the fact that even if it's been difficult, even if it is difficult, you're grateful for the fact that you have a physical body, you have a physical life right now on this planet, as we weave through this whole ascension journey. It's huge highs and sometimes it's big lows, but it is the roller coaster. If you go down and you're feeling low or unhappy, you always will rise up again. Again, the message from Metatron is always as though if you're shown something that needs healing, or there's shadow, fear, darkness that comes up, it comes up to be looked at. And the reason why, one of the things I love about the Metatron energy so much is that it's very persistent. So if you refuse to look at it, it's like he keeps knocking. He'll keep knocking. He'll keep tapping you on the shoulder until it's literally like, okay, you are going to look at this, because you have to do that, because this is actually blocking the greater amount of light and love that wishes to come in. So there is a purpose behind everything that is arising at this time, both in the collective and in our personal lives. Let's just use the Christ light spray at this point, okay? So this is the cosmic love, Christ light energy. And I'm just going to spray it around myself and just feel for a message from Christ at this time. The message coming through is I'm being shown a strange image. I'm seeing him sitting down in a pair of slippers. And what he's saying to me is that this is for those of you that are watching. It literally is a message along the lines of, it's time to sit. It is time to put the slippers on. It's time to rest over these next couple of days. Now, I know that's hard because there's lots of traveling and things to do around the Christmas period, but it is important that you take time out to rest, because it's almost as though there is also this very strong sense of energy coming through, of appreciation for all of us that have consciously been on this path over the last 12 months, with all of those highs and the lows, and a great sense of appreciation to those of us that have managed to stay in our heart in the face of darkness, in the face of challenge, in the face of fear, in the face of a very wobbly collective energy that is out there. There is this sense of huge appreciation for those of us that have tried to stay in our heart. Doesn't mean we always have succeeded 365 days of this year, but we've tried, and we've had pockets, we've had moments, we've had days, we've had weeks where we've been able to do it. And there is just this feeling from him coming through where there is this sense of thank you for that. And this energy of him just sitting, it's like he's sitting resting. It's like he's wanting us to also be able to do some of that over the period between Christmas and New Year. It's actually going to be quite important. It's an important time also to look back, he's saying, in terms of what we've learnt over the last year, and also to look forward to the new. Let's just see what else comes through. So the Christ light energy. So if we just go into our heart for one moment and bring in the coral light of Christ. And coral is made up of pink, the colour of the energy of love, and yellow, the colour of joy. So we have the two energies of love and joy coming together into this huge heart shape that wants to sit within our physical heart. So it feels as though it's a merging of the different levels of heart space that exist. The physical heart, which is actually the organ that, pumps the blood and keeps you alive in the body. I'm seeing the physical heart pumping, beating, pulsing. And then I'm also being shown the other energies around the heart, the electromagnetic field around your own heart. And it's as though the Christ energy is wanting to illuminate that with the most beautiful diamond, silver and white light. So just like you to think for a moment about your physical heart that's pumping in your chest at the moment, acknowledging the work that does, day in, day out, from the first moment of breath to the last that you ever give. Appreciation for the heart and all that it does. You may be shown aspects of the physical heart that need more tender loving care. Might be relating to exercise, diet. I'm being shown capillaries, some of which are blocked or partially blocked. And again, it's as though the coral energy just wants to flow in and just help to bring life force energy and health into the physical organ of the heart. Imagining your heart fully well, fully functioning. Healthy. And sensing the cells within the heart and the chambers within the heart. And I'm still talking here about the physical heart. And the arteries and the capillaries, all being boosted by this beautiful coral energy. Christ's light. And then on another level, the becoming aware of the electromagnetic field around your own heart, and more than anything, sensing how large that actually is. And that is now being boosted, as I say, by the silver, the diamond, and the white light. And that's pulsing. That's got a frequency that is vibrant and full of hope and love and purity and radiance and joy. And then link that electromagnetic energy of your heart into the hearts of other people of similar vibration around the planet. All linked in by this Christ light. And feel the strength of that until we are left with this feeling of hearts connected around the whole globe. Heart light, Christ light. Purity, love, healing, oneness. And then that diamond light, that silver light, then flows up above the earth itself until we see just a pure diamond star. And that diamond star holds the energy of the Christ consciousness. And it radiates down across the whole planet, into the darkest places, into the most stuck places. And its light reaches everywhere, penetrating every person that is open to receive it, opening hearts a little bit more, wider, in deep appreciation of Christ's love. Do you know what I'm seeing in my mind's eye now? I'm seeing a carousel. One of those old-fashioned carousels with the beautiful horses, except they're not horses, they're unicorns. And they're just going round. There's this beautiful old music, old-fashioned music. And they're linked by these silver chains of light and gold and platinum as they go round. It's not that music. Okay, so just come back down to earth. We're allowed to have a laugh. We're allowed to have a giggle. That's my daughter's music playing. What did we just say about perfection? Let go of perfection. Let go of the way things should be. Okay? I just was hearing celestial music and she's just opened her door to rap. So it's all good. And that's the point actually, in all seriousness, because the Christ light is in everything. It's not just in the choral music. It's not just in the celestial music. It's actually within the rap. It's within all of it's within all genres. it has the ability to be in every single place, in every genre, in every person. You just have to open your heart. Okay, so I think that's what I would like to say on this video. I would like to wish you all a very happy Christmas, and let's just look forward to next year, but let's not rush. Let's just enjoy the next few days and be there for each other as well. Okay, much love everyone. Bye bye for now.